So if you want to buy the latest Galaxy phone that is also affordable, then the Samsung Galaxy A04s should be one of the devices that you need to consider. But at a price tag of over 100,000 naira or thereabout, is this phone worth it? Well, let's find out, shall we? So Samsung has quietly launched the Galaxy A04s in Nigeria. It's a mid-range smartphone that is meant to compete with the likes of Tecno, Infinix, even Xiaomi, right? And as far as the unboxing experience goes, it's quite minimalistic, right? For lack of a better word. So there is the phone itself, you have the cable, the Type-C cable, an adaptive fast charging adapter, and of course the SIM ejector tool. But moving on from that to the build of this phone, and the color variant I have looks really good. So this is in copper, but you can get it in 3 other colors, and as expected, the build on this phone is plastic and it attracts a lot of fingerprint stains. And if you want to solve this, for those who have OCD, you might need to get a separate case for this, since Samsung did not include it right in the box. Anyway, still on the back end, you have a triple camera setup. So at the top, the first camera you find is a 50 MP wide angle camera. The second camera is a 2 MP micro camera, and we have a 2 MP depth camera for portrait shots. Now here's how I feel about the camera, right? In good lighting conditions, the pictures that are taken with this phone actually came out really nice. I feel the color science on Samsung phones is one of the best on Android phones, and the same narrative applies with this phone. So like I said, in good lighting condition, pictures looked true to life, the details were also on point, and I like what I got with the dynamic range, especially considering the price point and also what the competition is offering. Now, as for portrait shots from the back camera, I feel they were above average with good sharpness and fine details, plus the blur effect is quite convincing enough. But as expected, sometimes it could struggle with complex areas like your hair, especially for females that use wigs. Now on the flip side though, the narrative is not the same when you use the phone to take pictures in not so great lighting conditions. I noticed that the images from the phone in low light looked a bit soft, especially on the skin tones. But I guess at the end of the day, you cannot eat your cake and have it, right? Now when it comes to videos, there is no OIS or EIS on this phone, and the highest resolution you can shoot with is at 1080p at 30 frames per second. So as expected, your videos will not be stable. But in terms of quality from the videos I shot with this phone had less noise, especially when you shoot in good lighting conditions. But guys, let's move on to the front camera, and we have a teardrop notch, which I'm very skeptical about in terms of design and all of that. But yeah, the teardrop notch actually houses the 5 MP front-facing camera, which in my opinion is decent in terms of quality, provided you take them in good lighting conditions. Good lighting conditions seem to be a theme with the quality of this phone, right? As expected, taking photos or videos where the light is not so great would result in soft and noisy photos. Now with that said, let's talk about the display, and we're getting a 6.5-inch Full HD IPS LCD display. And in my opinion, I'm not shocked by the display considering the price point that this phone sits in. I mean, don't tell me that you were expecting an AMOLED display. Okay, now this uses a 90Hz refresh rate instead of a 60Hz refresh rate. Now most smartphones in this price range actually use a lower refresh rate, say a 60Hz refresh rate. And in my opinion, the 90Hz refresh rate on the Galaxy A04s makes the phone feel a bit snappier, especially when you're navigating through the phone. Now the only drawback that I noticed with this one is with the performance. So this has a 3GB and 4GB RAM variant. Mine is 4GB, and yet paired with Android 12 and Samsung's One UI version 4.1. Now all of this runs on Samsung's Exynos 850 chip. Now for those wondering, this is actually a 2020 chip, and as expected, it's not the best performer, especially when you look at the benchmark scores. Now in real world usage, you might notice that this phone lags, especially when you're playing slightly heavy games on it, or when you're navigating between different game applications on the phone. So in my opinion, if you're trying to get this phone for its performance, then you might be better off getting, another phone from Samsung's mid-range line. Now, another slight drawback I noticed is with the sensors, right? So this does not come with an ambient light sensor, and it's not a strange phenomenon, especially with mid-range devices from Samsung. So to rectify this, Samsung actually figured out a way to add an auto brightness feature that will make your screen as bright as you want it based on your surrounding. Anyway, let's talk about security, right? And we get both face unlock and and fingerprint unlock. And the fingerprint sensor, for those wondering, is not at the back. Instead, it has been integrated into the power button, and it's quite fast and responsive, if I do say so myself. But guys, let's talk about the audio, and I'm going to play a song on the Galaxy A04s and on the Nokia, right? Just so you can see how both of them performs. And after the test, please let me know which one of the phones perform better in your opinion.
This is your one. Gives you your. Let's go. Thoughts can keep you down, pushing deep until you drown, or they can keep you up strong, focused on the.
But guys, away from that, I'm moving on to one of the strongest points of this phone, and that is with the battery. So this comes with a 5000 mAh battery that can last you for a long time. So on an average, I was getting about 7 to 8 hours of screen on time. In short, I could use this phone for more than a day without an issue. Of course, the usage is quite relative, but in my opinion, I don't think you would go wrong with the battery life on the Galaxy A04s. Like, it's quite good. But on the flip side, this only comes with a 10 watts charger. So it took about 2 hours, 10 minutes roughly to charge this battery from 0 to 100 using the bundled USB-C cable and the adapter. Now, while this is not fast by any means, it is also not bad considering the price point of this phone and considering what the competition offers in the same price range. So what do I think about this phone? I feel for the price point, the back cameras are quite good, right? It would have been great if Samsung had included a night mode, just saying, but I really like the quality from the back cameras on this phone. I also think that the battery life is amazing, and you would not go wrong if you're buying this phone specifically for that purpose. But on the flip side, performance is not a strong point when it comes to this phone. Now, based on my review, what do you guys think about the Samsung Galaxy A04s? Do you think that, Samsung nailed it? Would you even consider it in the first place, or nah? Let me know your thoughts, and as always, don't forget to like, share, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.